Kingdoms, kings, and an early republic. We all know that from some past 50 years or so, there are leaders who are coming to our homes every year or every 5 years by their folded hands, and they ask for that, say that please go to vote and please click on the button on our name, on our party's name. That is, some kind of booths are there, and we just go for long lines. We get so excited that we just move to these places to give our vote on the election day. But the question is how some men became rulers in early ages, let's say some 3000 years ago. Some 3000 years ago, how these people used to become rulers if somebody wanted to. Inheritance was one of the best way that one could have become a ruler. That is, whatever property or whatever kingdom that a father had, it will be passed on to the son. It will be passed on to the most able son or the first son. The other way was to have good amount of leadership. If you are a good leader, then automatically the people will follow you. Or the other way was the dominance. If you are good and if you are dominating in nature, then it is possible that by hook or crook or by the force of your stick, you may rule other people. There was an obvious way of elections too. That is, some group of people collect together, and amongst them they just find the best man out, and they say that you are our leader, you are our leader. This was also a way to rule the people. Then another way was alliances and marriages. That is, let's say there are two countries A and another country B. Then the king of country A may go and marry the daughter of the king B, and in this way they will have an alliance. They'll have kind of a mutual agreement that, or they are not going to bother each other, and in case they have to kill or they have to fight with another enemy, then both of the parties will go and fight with this enemy, let's say C. So this was another way of alliances and marriages to be a ruler. Then there is a special and rather a strange case called as performing rituals. Yes, this is also a way to be a ruler or be a king of a territory. Let's say what used to happen was, there used to be some kings and there used to be some priests. On the guidance of the priest, these kings or these people, these particular person who wanted to be the ruler, performed sacrifices. And one of the most famous sacrifices of such kind was Ashvmedh Yagya. Ashvmedh Yagya, that is, or literally it means the horse sacrifice. Ashva means horse, and the Medh or Medh in Sanskrit, it means to kill. What used to happen in this ritual was, there used to be the best horse which was chosen by the king or by the person whosoever wanted to be the king or to be the most powerful person. Let's say this person, this king is our person in focus. He chooses this particular horse and he used to let this horse wander freely into the territory. For example, let's say this is the territory of our king, and there are another territories, let's say territory A, territory B, then another territory C, and then another territory, let's say D, and then E. Then all these territories are the neighboring territories of this king. Now what will happen is, the king will release its horse in the northeast direction as per the Vedic rituals to wander freely, and this horse may wander anywhere wherever he wants, and the people of the king, that is the army and the princes, some 100 in number, will follow this horse, and wherever this horse go in 1 year, that territory will be considered as the territory of the king, and after that 1 year this horse will be brought back to the territory again. Now let's think what will happen if any of the prince or any of the king stops this horse. As it was quite famous, it was already being famous that the horse who's wandering in your territory is a particular horse of Ashvmedh. For example, in this particular photograph, we see that there are two princes who are stopping this horse. Now, if at all any king or any prince stops the horse of Ashvmedh loosed freely by another king, then it means that they are accepting the challenge to fight this king, as this king has said that if at all someone holds my horse, he has to fight with me. And if at all they allowed the horse to pass, It means that they are ready to grant the king full autonomy in that area which is being traversed by the horse, and in such a case this area will be surrendered to the king in question. After the year is passed, then all these kings who are from the other territories or the neighboring territories will come to the king in the sacrifice ceremony, where the horse is cut through. Here in this photograph we see that this particular person is sacrificing this horse. In such a fashion, all these kings used to bring gifts, and all the priests used to get certain kind of gifts and other kind of ceremonial things. And this was a way in which people used to become kings or rulers. But in such rituals, there were certain categories who were not allowed. For example, the lowest category among them, the Shudra, the Shudras, and the women. The women were not allowed. That was called as the caste system. The caste system which existed. Well, it is not just India where the caste system existed, but almost everywhere in the ancient centuries, in the ancient civilization, caste system existed. For example, in Egypt, in the Egyptian civilization, even they had caste system. At the top ladder they had the pharaoh, and then the priest and the nobles, then came the traders, then farmers and herders, and later on the unskilled workers. This is the hierarchy they used to follow. Similarly, in India, we had the Brahmins at the top ladder, then came the Kshatriyas, that is the kings or the nobles, also called as the royal bloods. Then came the Vaishye or the trader class, the shopkeepers. They used to come in the third category, and then was the area, the lowest ladder, the lowest base was allotted to the Shudras and the women. They were not allowed to perform any kind of rituals. They were not allowed to even sit in certain rituals. They were not allowed to read Veds and books. This was such a scenario. Well, all these people who used to become kings in this era some 3000 years ago, they used to settle into Janpads. The Raja who used to perform these sacrifices were now recognized as being the Rajas of the Janpads. That is, that area of which he became the king, that area will be called as the Janpad. Janpad literally means, or rather Jan literally means people, and Pad literally means the foot or the feet of the people. So wherever people stay, that will be called as Janpad. Well, there were more than 40 Janpads in and around the Indian subcontinent. Amongst them, the most famous were Purana Killa in New Delhi. This is the photograph of Purana Killa from inside. Then another one is Hastinapur, which is near Meerut, Uttar Pradesh, and then Atranji Khera, which is near Ita in Uttar Pradesh again. And there were rest, as we said, there were more than 40 in number. In Janpad, the archaeologists have found several great things. They have found some painted grey ware. Which are really fine to touch with a nice and smooth surface. This painted grey ware, also called as PGW in short as an acronym, these PGW had geometrical figures, as we can see them in this particular photograph. These geometrical figures are also inscribed or also made on the surfaces. And apart from these PGWs,
Some other red pottery was also found in these Janpads.
With the progress in agriculture and settlement by some 500 BC, that is 2500 years ago BC from present, Janpads became a common feature. We usually found that, or everywhere nearby the Indian subcontinent, Janpad was flourishing. Archaeologists have also found that in Janpads people lived in huts, and also they kept cattle as well as other animals. They also grew a variety of crops like rice, wheat, barley, pulses, sugarcane, sesame, and mustard. Well, we'll talk about Janpads and Mahajanpads in detail in the coming videos. Thank you.